the title of this retrograde is what I wrote, maybe you should rethink that. What is something that you should maybe rethink? For me, why, hello there. I was meditating today and something came up, wrote it down. I needed to do, which I'm doing right now, is a weekly review, Sunday check-in, my personal experience of this week's energy, astrology, by an astrologer, and not any normal astrologer, an Aquarius astrologer. So you know if an Aquarius and astrology is together, you're getting the best. That's biased. I'm joking, but you know, Aquarius energy was Sag, 9th house. I do have a Pluto in Sag, so does that count? Anyways, okay, so yeah, I'm gonna be doing that. So today is the first day of Mercury retrograde, and retrogrades in Mercury sign, which rules our Mercury in retrograde is pretty much us looking back, things from the past, memories, thoughts, ideas from the past that we had may resurface. People like to say that people in the past like resurfaces, and I say people meaning like astrologers. I hear that, but I'd be like, I'd be really rebuking that rebuking that energy in my life. I don't even want to claim it. And so yeah, I try not to even really think too much really about Mercury in retrograde. Like I really don't like anything that provides people fear or like a shock factor. And this is why, for me as an astrologer, which I really like to say, someone who combines spirituality and astrology, or uses her intuition first and then uses astrology as a tool, just as a cool little, like, you know, astrology is like a physical thing that you can see that colors your inner part of you, your intuition. So for me, I'm always like, oh, you know, it's really cool to like feel something and then know it internally, intuitively, and then see it mapped out, or like see it in the chart. And obviously there's so many things. Sometimes you know, you're going through changes in life and you don't really, you know, you're navigating a new life here, like a lot of us, Piscean energy, Aquarian energy, big, like this is a new life here. We're rewriting our lives, and astrology actually helps a lot in certain tools like cards and stuff, because like when you're entering new territory, regardless of how strong your intuition is, it just really is nice to have like a physical, like, okay, my life isn't falling apart for no reason, you know. There's a light at the end of this tunnel. There's sunshine and rainbows. You guys get it, okay? So as I like to use astrology in the best way that I can, just not to like predict. I really, you guys know I've been like navigating on like how I want to provide it, share it. And by the way, I love how all astrologers are doing. I'm not saying like my way is whatever. I'm just trying to use my calling, which is, you know, astrology, and like, you know, spirituality, in the ways that are the most authentic for me. And obviously I'm an Aquarius, so I'm gonna want to do it differently, you know. Like, I don't want to just sit here and tell you. I can tell you all about like the planets and the transits and what's coming up and what's happening in the future and da. But like, I don't want to do that, because you can watch 1,000 triple millions videos of that. And by the way, does it actually help? Does it actually help, or does it actually bring you more anxiety? I want you to think about that. some people it may help. Some people like me who overthinks things and like can be impatient and like stuff like that. Sometimes it like knowing so much far out into the future, like it's nice to know. But you know what I mean? It's just, so the point is, how I like to use astrology is I like to live my life and then like see how the astrology like emerges. Like I try to start off, you guys, like I always say, like with my spiritual practice, and you know, I'm like journaling and I'm like talking to God, spirit, universe, and like asking for guidance. And then I like to then like peek at the astrology and then like see, like for me, what I used to do was like I would start my day off with my spiritual practice and meditating and then journaling, and then I would like give myself, if I wanted to use the cards, I'll then put cards or pull cards like after I tuned in with myself. Especially when I was like trying to strengthen my intuition, I just really needed to get onto that routine of literally like, instead of what I used to do, which is just open the astrology app, or like, this is before I was an astrologer, but I would just like open and just like fill my mind with astrology before I even like checked in with myself. And with astrology, it's great, but astrology can be so like, you can misinterpret things. You can like overhype something, underhype, like, you know. And so I just felt like really disconnected from myself, because I was always looking for external validation, and that could even be through tools like astrology. So I had to like literally like force myself to like, all right, every day when I wake up in the morning, I gotta do my meditation, even though at that point it felt really weird to like sit down and like, I feel like when you're so used to like getting instant like answers, which you could do by pulling up an astrology app or something like that, or whatever, or pulling cards even, it's very like boring to just be like, all right, I'm gonna sit here and wait to see what comes up, when you've never really, or you don't really do it. And so that's something to think about. I just like, it's like that like instant gratification, like with those quick answers that we like want. But even then it's like, well, I mean, anyways, I'm going off into a tangent, but the point is, I am going to be doing something that I actually started a while back ago, like where I had a channel called Daily Astrology and Spirituality, and that's where I would literally like talk to the camera or like vlog my life and show you guys how I'm living my life, or talk about like things that happen in my life, and then I will like relate it to the astrology and like look up like what was happening astrologically, and then like show how you can use astrology like to pretty much like validate or understand or help you navigate what's happening through your life. And I always say like tools are great, but like ultimately that's why and like I always like to start with my meditation first, and then I'll journal, and then I can use cards, and then I can look at the astrology as like extra like insight, extra like more detail, or like understanding. And then as I like go throughout my day, it's really cool to like see the connections between like what came up through me intuitively, because then that gives me the power, right? Like power in a good way, not in a negative way, but it's like, you know, that. And then obviously cool to see the astrology and then the cards, and when you really start to do it intuitive, like consistently, all things connect. And that's when I was like, oh wow, like I'm strengthening my intuition, because now like the things that I got throughout my meditation, I'm starting to get it. Like the card said it, something around the lines, and then astrology was connected to it, and it was just really, really cool. So anyways, that was like my intro to me talking about my life here, okay, and then showing how it aligns with astrology, so you guys can like use astrology to help you navigate your life. Okay, it's so cool. It's like having just like a personal best friend that is like validating and giving you extra insight and extra like put like a extra just friend. Okay. All right. So, that was like the intro part of this video, and then we're going to get into now. I'm going to go back into this week, which we had major energies happening, like changes happening this week. I think I wrote down, I really want to talk about or highlight. Where did I write it down? Shoot. I'm not supposed to be editing this video, but I told myself I'm going to try not to edit it. But I don't remember where I wrote the important things. Okay, fudgers. Alright, well, I don't see where I wrote down what I wanted to talk about. So that's annoying. Okay, fudgers. Alright, well, there was a full moon this week in the sign of Taurus. Hey, we love when we use our like minds, because I wrote it down, but even though I could remember, but it just felt like, anyways, full moon in Taurus, we're going to talk about that, even though I kind of did do a little vlog and I showed you guys like that, but we'll talk about that, what happened, like a little bit, the insights that I got from things that happened in my life. Then Uranus re-entered into Taurus. All right, some more Taurus earthy energy we got here. And then retrograde. Wow. So triple whammy. So today that's what I'm going to talk about. And if you want to watch, if you're watching this, if I'm clipping this on my shorts, then go to my YouTube channel, Healthy Girl Healing, because that's where I'm going to start posting more of these kind of like chit chat videos, chit chat with me about astrology and spirituality and life, and my personal experience of the current astrology and how you can use it to understand your life and all that stuff like that. All right. Okay, let's get it started. So let's go back to memory lane here. Okay. So let's go to Monday. Or was Monday? When did we have? Wait. No. This is what happens when you just get on camera and you don't. Okay, I'm just gonna see what, okay. Okay. Okay, alright. I'm trying to see, it doesn't matter. Okay, Monday, the moon was in the sign of Aries, okay? Wait, I'm trying to think. Should I go through all my week, or should I just talk about the major energies? Alright, I should just be talking about the major energies, because we need to stay, like, focused. Alright, so let's talk about the full moon, alright? So the full moon happened in Taurus, and this was actually an interesting day. So how do I explain this? So I was supposed to be starting something that day. I was supposed to be doing starting something with someone that day, and it was like a collaborative thing, and yeah, the literal day of the event, or what we were supposed to do, we had a conversation prior to it, and there was like I just felt intuitively like I was doing the most. Like, I was like, it just felt like something didn't feel aligned, and pretty much, why am I explaining it like this? Okay. So I have an amazing person that I met, and he sells crystals. And I thought it would, and I have been using this app that is like pretty much meant for live social shopping or live social live selling. Okay, if you guys don't know about live selling, it's pretty much like what's gonna be popping off. It's already popped off in other parts of the world. It's like the new wave. Okay, and it's pretty much like you sell things live. I'm pretty sure we heard about this. It's on TikTok. It's now on YouTube. It's now going to be on Twitch. It's like a really good way if you have a product to like get on live and literally sell it while you're like on live. But then you can like answer questions. It's like QVC if you ever heard of that. So I have been using this app called Whatnot. And it was recommended by Gary V, which if you don't know, he's an entrepreneur, and he literally like is my go-to person when it comes to like marketing yourself as an entrepreneur and all the stuff like that. Okay, and then like how you promote yourself on social media, just stuff like that. Okay. So he has been saying that was big for a while now, and I like went and I built my profile page on there, but I just went on there. I didn't have a physical product, but I started going on there last year. Was it last year? Yeah, last year in December actually. Crazy enough. And I just was like, I'm just going to get on the video. I don't have a physical product, but I'll just like get on and start like talking astrology and, see what happens. And I ended up like getting tips, which I didn't even know at the time you could do, but people like resonated. I was talking about astrology, but I was also pulling cards. And yeah, people were really liking it, and I was getting tips, which I didn't expect, and it was like crazy. And I remember honestly like that coming through in my meditation, and I was like thinking of like doing that, like getting on the Whatnot. I got through my meditation when I was like looking. I just remember a visual of me being on live, and I saw like money coming down. Like it was like weird, and I was like, that was a weird like little visual that came through in my meditation. And then it was funny because I ended up getting like tips, like and unexpected money. Like I didn't even anyway, so that was cool, but I always felt like okay, like but then there's a lot of people through the app that'll always come in and will like comment like, hey, you're supposed to be selling, like, what are you selling? You don't have a physical product or whatever. And so anyways, when I got connected, when I was reached out by this Reiki master, Reiki master practitioner, and who sells crystals, I was like, oh my gosh, it would be really cool, like, like if you, and he's a Virgo and Leo rising, and so I was like, oh, his 7th house is ruled by Aquarius, so we would just like really be a good partnership, because he has a lot of stuff in Leo. And a lot of Leo risings right now are needing to like really connect and collaborate with Aquarius people. I mean, because it's important to bring in that, like, because Leos are so good at the performance and like the self and putting out the energy, but when it comes to connecting to community or stuff like that, like there's just, so anyways, so I was like, okay, cool, yeah, like that'll be cool, but yeah, but then it just didn't work out. It's just a point. And actually, meaning it didn't work out, like, and I don't know what's going to come of it, but it involved me putting in more work than I expected, like, for me to, like, sell the crystals on my own and just certain things like that. And I knew intuitively, like, I'm not a seller. I'm just, like, I mean, not that, like, I just didn't feel aligned to actually have to like sell the products myself. That's why I've never had products, like, because the thought of like having to package things and do all of that, that is not for me. Okay, this is like, we gotta like understand like what we have to like have self-awareness to know our strengths and our weaknesses. And that's what having a team is for, really, because you can, like, there are people who are amazing at packaging stuff and selling and, like, the little detail-oriented parts of the actual selling. And I know I wasn't in line with that. But I was like just so excited because I was like, oh, like this is just like because of the idea, because we were gonna like go and ask your question and like do this whole like show which combines spirituality and astrology and then crystals. So it was a great idea, but it was gonna be too much responsibility on my end that I knew that I wasn't aligned with. But as the Aries moon in me of like this like being so excited and passionate about something, even though their little voice in my head is like, this is a lot, and you also have other things you really need to be focusing on that you keep veering off of or getting distracted, or because you're just so excited about everything, right? I mean, meaning like, because just, okay, anyways, so, I think it's like the Aries energy of like loving to start new things and start things. Like I'm so good at like that. Like you need something to be started, I can get it. Like it happened tomorrow, you know, like that kind of thing. But anyways, but yeah, we went on the video. We went on a live and immediately had technical difficulties. And I already knew that instant and this was during the full moon. And it immediately knew that's God. That's like, you know, like saying this is not this. And so anyways, so we ended up trying to work it through. It didn't work. It was still more technical difficulties, which actually aligns to, we were like at that time on November 5th is what it was. We were in the Mercury Retrograde shadow period. So this week was like Mercury Retrograde shadow. So anything you've seen that came up this week, when it comes to like any, you know, Mercury Retrograde, sometimes tech, you know, maybe sometimes will mess up a little bit, or like, you know, once again, past stuff coming out or ideas. For me, I think of it like Mercury, it's like your thoughts. So like any ideas that you had in the past, like me even doing this video right now, where I said I used to do videos like this and feeling like drawn to do it again or go back to it, or come back to it. Anyways, but yeah, so I was like, you know what, let's pull some cards. So I pulled cards and the cards were like, yeah, no. It validated that we needed to come back and have another conversation about like our expectations and like if this is something that we should like continue doing, or we just needed to re-strategize. So I'm not saying, because we work so like, I rarely get to be around like Leo people. I'm just not, it doesn't like happen naturally for like, you know, I'm an introvert. So let me tell you, or I'm gonna say ambivert. I like people and I want to get myself out there more. But I'm not doing that quite yet. And I mean like in person, I'm so good at it like online. I've had so many conversations online, but I just do need to get out of my like comfort zones. And I think me being like a Pisces rising and then like Taurus ruling my third house, which is all about my day-to-day like life and routines, literally in Taurus, which is like comfort zones. And by the way, Uranus is now back in Taurus, so it's gonna be shaking that shit up, you know. So like, okay, you know, and that and I've experienced that. We've experienced this Taurus and Uranus energy. I'm gonna have to put the date up somewhere on the screen, or matter of fact, you know what? No, I'm not, because I'm not supposed to be editing this video. Because if I edit it and I'd be like, here's the thing, I have to trick myself. Because if I'm going to be doing these videos, I have to keep it, like the moon is in Cancer right now. And that actually describes the energy that I'm trying to give in this video. Which is just like letting my feelings, my intuition, mi corazón, my heart, like rule the conversation. And not listen to the Capricorn placements in my chart, which is my Mercury, and like other heavy stuff. Like I have like other stuff in there, okay? And I'm trying not to focus. Matter of fact, let me stop trying to act mysterious. That's another thing. I'm like, I want to share my astrology. I don't know why. Like, I'm always like, let me wait until I like start to talk. But I have Mercury in Capricorn. I have Neptune in Capricorn. I have Jupiter in Capricorn. Okay. In my 11th house. So, once again, if you will look at it astrologically speaking, I'm like this, we'll have so many like friends and like people, right? But yeah, it takes actually getting out of your house for that. I mean, I have so many people I know virtually, but and that actually aligns because I'm really good at like, I've had a YouTube channel before this that I amassed like over 100K following. I've had millions of views. I've like done things. Okay, you can actually, if you would like to see my past life, you can go to my Just Creations video with 2 S's. You can look at my past life of like just like where I was, and then how that channel ended up like, I don't want to say dying, but it had to come to a close because I was doing beauty content there, and then I tried to like, then Spiritual Awakening happened, and then I tried to like talk spiritual content, and then like my views significantly took a hit because I at the time didn't realize how like different, like I just didn't think, because I'm like, this is so cool. Anyways, that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, I had to like let that part of me go so I can let this like new, like authentic person, like part of me, like this new chapter, this new like version of myself, which is like always been there, but like this like most authentic part of me who loves to talk about astrology and like all that stuff. Let me explain. As I'm talking, my Mercury sign is like cringing right now. Like, because it's like, I'm just thinking of like me rambling, right? And I'm like, the Mercury in Capricorn is like, girl, just get straight to the point. Like, when I veer off or when I like talk, it makes me think like people are gonna like click off or like not click or whatever. But I'm like, like I don't let myself ramble enough because I feel like people are not going to I'm overthinking things. But it's like, this is what I like about videos when I watch other people's videos, when they're just talking from their heart and they're not like overly like strategic about everything, like what they're saying. And whenever the moon or anything is in Cancer, which is all about flow and like, once again, like expressing through your emotion, like, letting your heart lead, letting your emotions like lead. My Capricorn is always trying to clean it up, and so I'm like always in this like opposition with myself when Jupiter is in Cancer right now, but yeah, with the moon in there, so I'm just like, and then also Cancer is not like like I said, it's fluid, it's water, so the fact that even with me like veering off right now off of the like going on side tangents or maybe prolonging like certain things that I'm saying because I'm just kind of letting things flow, the Capricorn is literally like trying to focus myself so I'm not veering off. But that is a part of the Cancer moon. You're like letting the emotions come out, and maybe, yeah, you are talking about the past and like reflecting in that. Of course I have to bring in the past. I mean, even though I am talking about this week, but the fact that I started talking about, okay, anyways. Okay, so I was supposed to be looking at when was the last time Uranus was in Taurus? The last major period Uranus was in Taurus was from May 2018 to July 2025. Okay. I'm like, dang. All right. So yeah, throughout that time period, that's when we already had this Uranus in Taurus. So there you go. But I know for me that was a time where I wait, am I done? Okay, let me focus. Okay. See, okay, the Capricorn Mercury is like, get. Okay, literally. Okay, no, but really though, I can't have this be 2 hours. So let me get straight to the point of the full moon in Taurus. So pretty much the full moon in Taurus was happening in my 3rd house, and it was like full moons are about like releasing, right? Something coming to like a natural conclude, or something where it's like, all right, this is like the final something, like something, I don't want to say endings, because it doesn't have to be like that, like blunt, but it's like the conclusion or something of that. I learned the word of like culmination. It's a word, because it's like not, but anyways, so, for me, it was interesting because I think my message for that was that I needed to get out of my comfort zone, and my comforts is the things that I already know, right? So like me going and doing this collab with like and like that is like, I feel like I was going back to doing something that was familiar when I was really supposed to be focusing on something that I'm going to be sharing more about, which is me finally like putting out what I have been like creating, and which is like my healthy people healing thing that I'm going to be doing. This thing that I've been working on. And I think that I keep getting distracted from it because there's a part of me that's fucking scared, because I've never done anything like that before. And it scares me. Even though, like, I know it's going to be so amazing for not even me, for other people, right? It's what the world needs more of, and just gonna just open so many doors for a lot of people to like, it's just amazing. But it scares me. So I keep going back to all these things that don't scare me, like doing these side projects and getting my foot in back into like somehow weaving back into like these familiar spaces, like going on a live with somebody and then like selling, like doing that, like that's familiar. I've done that. I can do that. But it's not what I'm supposed to be doing, right? And I'm just trying to avoid the uncomfortable parts of pushing through and finishing what I've been working on so I can put it out, okay? And that is actually aligned to the 9th house, the opposite. So with full moons, or usually since it was a full moon in Taurus, the sun it's opposing the energy right now we're in, which is in Scorpio season. So it's like telling you to release that part, but then like, meaning you need to, it's the new moon in the opposite sign, which there's going to be a new moon in Scorpio later this month. That's where you're needing to like, there's something new is going to be starting. So you're needing to shed this part so you can get into the new of the opposite energy. So you can understand that by looking at where Taurus is in your chart and seeing like there was something like shedding there that you needed to shed, that most likely was around of like you clinging to comfort in some area of your life and needing to like prepare yourself to get into like that Scorpio energy of the discomforts, of like, there, even the fear of like, like whatever, but that then when the new moon happens, this like new, you're like there, or like that's when it's gonna start this new beginning of that. But it only was gonna happen if you finally like allowed yourself to release like that part of you in that Taurus area of clinging to comforts. And so that's how I feel. And ironically, I'm starting the thing that I've been working on at the end of this month. I didn't even know, and that's the beauty of astrology, but also like kudos to me for being aligned. This is like, it feels good. Like, yes, it's cool when you as an astrologer, I could totally like have looked forward and was like, oh, I'm gonna do this day or whatever because this astrology. And I think that is a really amazing tool, especially if you want to plan like a wedding or something. Like, of course, you want to, but it also is very even, I think, more cool because for me, when I was led intuitively to like do something on a certain day, and then I look up and it was like, that was like close to a new moon or like something, like it was aligned. And so it was like, yes, trusting my intuition and like everything being aligned and on time and stuff like that. So yeah, that was my full moon. I mean, that was a little bit. Obviously there's so much. But I did write down a little quote that I wanted to share, and it says, "I now create a life I love to look at." So okay, that I just thought I would share that part with you. So yeah, there was so much more, to be quite honest, but I'm just gonna leave it here. But also, let me just tell you, after that night when the technical difficulties was going on, and then I ended up having I had to switch my batteries out. But I was just laughing at myself because I ended up peeing too, and I was like, oh my gosh, when I start talking about astrology and just like talking about anything, that I'm passionate in, I just start talking like so fast and like rambling. So anyways, I'm just excited. Oh my goodness, am I gonna share this part? Okay, yeah, so like I said, every morning I film. Every morning I sit and do my spiritual practice. I meditate. I set a timer. Now I'm at 20 minutes. At first I started with 5 minutes when I was just like forcing myself to like say like, girl, you are not connected with yourself. You need to start getting connected with yourself. And the only way you're going to get connected is if you actually sit in silence or meditate or whatever you guys want to call it. Okay. So, and the timer helped me accountable because it was like, all right, like, I at least know there, like, like, I don't know. I guess it was like, there's like the Capricorn of like, there's a time, there's structure. So now I know, like, I don't know. It was just something about that where it works for me. But on the day of the full moon, the morning, I wrote, releasing my comfort zone and moving into new experiences, new territory, scary territory. It's time to get serious about / finish putting together / creating healthy people healing. God, I'm so scared. It feels like a lot of work. I see the events are fully packed and beautifully helping so many people and being the best of what I've always imagined for it to be. And so I said, so I must finish what I started. But then also, let me tell you that I ended up having like a major, so that day after everything happened, that full moon energy, and then after the technical difficulties, and then we like, then my phone ended up dying. And then after that, I had a long conversation with the person. But then after, I felt so like drained, and like I ended up getting a headache, and I was like out. And I also remember I had been neglecting my like health, like I got guidance that I needed to take a cleansing bath last week or the week before. I guess last week. And that's just normal. First of all, if you're an empath, if you, which most likely if you have a lot of Piscean energy, but in general, if you or Cancer, even like, I guess water energy, if you have a lot of like if you're empathic, if you get like easily like drained around people, especially if you're a light worker, you do like, you know, you're a spiritual practitioner, you do work on people with people and like that, you need to be constantly cleansing yourself, whether that's taking Himalayan salt baths, whether that's having selenite and wanding yourself. I mean, there's so many ways to cleanse. And if you're not, you really will, you will deteriorate yourself, and it will end up then causing health issues. Yeah, so I know this, right? Like, and especially if for me, it was a while. I still do the cleansing. Like, I do my selenite cleanse. I like do energy sweeps. I do that on a daily. But my body was telling me, okay, you need the baths. For me, baths are like my like full on like cleansing, and like so I really needed to do that. And so I was like overextending myself on top of that. And so my body did what the body does eventually when you overextend it and you're not recharging it in the ways that it's like asking or wanting you to. Like you're feeling, you know, guided. It's like, oh, I really want a bath, you know, but then putting it off for days and days and days. That's your body telling you like that is what it needed at that time or whatever. And so, yeah, I ended up feeling not good. And I ended up having like a really bad headache and like feeling very wiped. And it also makes me think of the Saturn. Saturn is transiting through in Pisces, you know, that's retrograded. And it's transiting through my first house. And my lesson is like boundaries around like the energy that I give out to other people, to everything in my life, you know, and making sure that I have boundaries and protecting my energy and all this stuff like that. And so it made me think of like, shit, Saturn is like putting me down. And then once again, it's lessons wherever Saturn is in your chart, that's lessons that happens around whatever house it's in. So for me, it's body. So whenever I'm not having my boundaries, or I'm over exerting myself, or I'm putting everything else outside of me before my physical care, what's going to end up happening? Something like my energy or my body or whatever will get affected. So anyways, very aligned. So I use that like energy after that and that Taurus whatever to really like be grounded and drink tea, take it slow, you know, because when the full moon is in the sign, yes, you're releasing something, but the moon is still in that sign. So the ways for you to like care for yourself is doing like whatever the sign is aligned to, which is Taurus, which is all about grounding and like doing like connected to nature and stuff like that. So calming things and stuff like that. So that was that day. All right, now we're gonna go into Uranus. Uranus. When? Okay, so Uranus enters Taurus. And once again, that's in my third house. Okay. So, there was also a thing that I remember. I can't talk about all the connections, Jess. We'll be here all day. I'm sorry. So let's just focus. I was thinking of another connection. Okay, so changes, Uranus and Taurus is like changes, once again, shaking us out of any comfort or anything we've been clinging on that may feel like security, but it's like limiting us. And so this Uranus and Taurus, once again, look at where Taurus is in your chart, or if you don't have your chart, or that's, you know, once again, you can book an astrology reading with me. Or wait, because also I'm going to be having some really, I'm going to be starting to do something. I'm going to be leaning more into my ninth house, which is like about like teaching, but there's going to be so much more outside of me, but I'm just, anyways, but wherever Uranus is in your chart, or wherever in your life where you are relying on your comforts, like too clingy to comforts, then that's gonna get like Earthquake. Okay, no. Let me not put that out there. I mean, energetically. Energetically, you getting like shaken up. Okay. But, oh gosh. But I hope not. I mean, Uranus and Taurus. Taurus is all about like the physical. Let's hope not. Let's hope no earthquakes. But that would be a Taurus and Uranus and Taurus theme. But no, but we don't want that. We're not putting that out there. But even though it doesn't work that way, obviously, if things are meant to happen, then it happens. But I'm just saying. Okay. What did I put on this day? Did I say anything? Need to create, need to express. Wait, why did I write this? Oh, that was the day. Oh, okay. I had a podcast episode with a Taurus, actually. And I'm excited for that to come out. I have so many podcast episodes that I haven't put out. And this is why, once again, I got reminded that I need to stop doing these outside projects that are not aligned. Like, I have so much I need to put out. And I just keep getting, like, but it's just a fear attached to it subconsciously. Because even though I'm like, I'm not fear. But then it's like, okay, then why are you holding back? Why you still got all that stuff that you haven't put out? Why you keep trying to do other stuff that feel more like, okay, like, comfortable, familiar, you know, stuff like that. Instead of doing that thing that is going to bring the transformation. And that does take discomfort, okay? So, I had an amazing breakthrough conversation, I would say, which is that right there, that sentence alone defines Uranus transiting through your third house, okay? Uranus being the breakthrough, conversations being the third house rules, also communication, how you communicate, the conversation that you have in your day-to-day life, which I did have in my life with, you know, and also Uranus represents tech, and I was doing it on a Zoom call. I mean, I can go on and on and on, but yeah, so that was great, and it was mind expanding for sure. That, like, yeah, I'm excited for everyone to watch that. And then I said, I'm trying to make sure if there's anything. But yeah, I think right now is a good example of me even deciding to, like, because I remember when Uranus was in my Taurus. I remember when Taurus and Uranus was transiting through my third house, like, you know, previously when it first did it, and it literally, like, opened up my communication. That's when I started, like, feeling free to talk about all these things that I have been learning, which is, like, astrology and spirituality. And that's when I started my podcast, because I've started so many things, guys. Like, guys, can I not say that, please? I just feel like a newbie YouTuber. Guys. Okay, but that's when I began my, like, sharing all of the things and just being free, you know, and, like, sharing all of the spirituality and astrology and stuff like that. I was doing a lot of talking, which, I mean, is why, like, the talking juices is stirring up for me to just, like, freely, like, talk about it again, like, doing this again, but not in, like, because it's in my third house. So the third house is, like, me just talking about it casually, you know? And yes, I'm bringing in astrology. Ninth house is me literally, like, teaching it. Like, you know, I'm here, or have a group or a course or a class, and I'm like, all right, guys, I'm going to pull up you guys' charts, and I'm going to show, like, you know, da-da-da-da. So just know that this is like casual, just sharing, and then the ninth is like actual, like you're like learning. I'm teaching you. I'm pulling your charts up. I'm saying the same thing. Okay, so that's another Taurus thing. I don't know if there's Taurus out there, but I'm sorry, Taurus people. You guys, especially like Mercury and Taurus and stuff, there's a thing with like saying the same things. Like maybe it's that comfort of like the things that you know. I just noticed like Taurus people often repeat, like they often talk about the same things. Like, it's interesting. It's interesting. Okay, so yeah, think about that. And then today, which is the Mercury Retrograde. And yeah, once again, think about what has happened this week. Anything that's like, any new ideas, any like conversations resurfaced that you've like had in the past with people, or like things that you've shared now coming back up. Perhaps. And then, yeah. I'm just going to read what I got. And I said, pause. Okay. Oh, that's what I wrote. Okay. Maybe, okay. The title of this retrograde is what I wrote. Maybe you should rethink that. What is something that you should maybe rethink? For me, fuck. There's some things I do need to read. Anything that doesn't have to do with me doing the thing that I need to do is what I need to rethink. And that's the most general way I can put it, because I don't want to like go into details right now, because I still have like I'm in this oh shit. I have other stuff planned, and I am being very guided right now of like, I don't want you to focus on nothing else until you have completely finished this book. And matter of fact, you're not even gonna have time to focus on anything else, because I mean, you are, but like your main focus, it needs to be on doing this thing, Jess. So anything else you're putting your energy to, even if you enjoy it, even if it's the energy that's getting like leaked out, that you need to pour into that main thing. And that's for anybody else, okay? So, and then actually, and here's the thing about me, I use a bunch of tools, and sometimes I get guided to pull out the Bible, okay? So this is a newer thing that came up for me this year. I'm like, I remember one day like doing my spiritual practice, and then I heard like literally like a random verse came in my mind. Let me tell you guys, I don't read the Bible. Like, I have been, like, I grew up Christian, but my mom didn't force us to, like, go to church or, like, read the Bible. So she always said that, like, God, your connection to God was centered around the relationship that you have with God. And so, which I pray, like, I mean, not I pray, but I'm grateful for. So, because it literally is, like, in my opinion, it's like, yeah, people cling to, once again, tools. I mean, like, even the Bible. There's people who have the Bible and, like obviously, like, cling to it so much so that without the Bible, would they even still have the connect? Like, would they even know what to do outside of that? You know? And that's how I view, like, tools. Like, this is why this is the source, you know? Like, we have to learn how to, like, trust what comes through, what God, whatever. And the only way we can do that is, like, you can't do it, like, when you're distracted. You gotta, like, be able to have, like, times of silence, which actually connects well with this Uranus and Taurus energy of this week, clearly, of, like, being present. Connecting to your senses so you can be in your body and you can feel your senses, feel like the present moment. Like, how are you tuned into that, you know? Especially with the Scorpio energy, because, you know, there's so many things. I could just continue talking, but I do need to wrap it up. So the Bible verse that came to me was 2 Samuel. See, I don't even know how to read these things. Like, I don't. This 2 Samuel, chapter 11, verse 19. And then I said 19 and 20, but definitely 19. And the message that I got from that was, you can't hide energy even behind strategy. You can't hide energy even behind strategy. So that makes me think of, like, you can't, I guess the slang term or the general term is, how long you gonna fake the funk until you realize whatever you're doing or putting your energy to is not even really the thing that you want to do. You want to do that other thing, but you think that if you do this thing is gonna bring you these results, or it's gonna give you this much more security, or whatever the reason is. But your heart, you don't really want to do it. You don't really want to do it. You're doing it for what you think is gonna like provide you or whatever. And that makes me think of that Taurus energy of like once again, working a job. And by the way, obviously you can't just like uplift and quit your job and stuff like that, but like, say you are in a job, but you also are like intuitive. Like, there was this girl that I gave a reading, or this woman that I gave a reading to, and you know, I don't remember her details, but let's just say that she is in a job, but she has the ability to like help people manifest things through candle magic. This is a very big, like, she's engaged, told me stories of literal crazy things happening through her. Somebody asking her to do this candle magic, and them, like, crazy, like, things happening. And so she, once again, I'm telling, you know, for me, I'm like, girl, lady, you need to, like, be putting yourself out. This is a business for you, you know, and it doesn't have to be like your bread and butter, but like you, and even if you don't want to charge or whatever, but it's your gift, you need to be sharing that. And so that requires you to get out of that comfort zone, and it's like you can't, and so you can't hide the energy that you feel. Like, even that makes me think of me going back to, like, was about to start another side project that was not connected to what I was supposed to be focusing on. And even though there was like a strategy, not even what I meant to do, but it was like, yeah, all right, there's a lot of people who sell crystals, you know, and a lot of people, and selling crystals on a live selling app is like amazing, you know. It's clearly going to end up getting like results, especially if I'm doing it and then the other person's doing it, because we're both being our most authentic self and blah, 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 and not in a cocky way, but like confident. And you should know, like, you bring something that others don't, you know. So, but even though it was like, oh yeah, this is like definitely gonna be amazing, my energy was like, I didn't want to like listen to it, but it was like my heart wasn't, but I knew I had other stuff I needed to like focus on. I knew I was like running away. Like, I just knew you just have that knowing. So it's like, just understanding, like, what did I write? I said, pause, reflect on if what you are doing is aligned to your why. Does what you're doing excite you? And who are you trying to prove? What is your motive? Okay. So, yeah. That is, I think, a good closer, because I'm running out of time. But that is the start for me. Like, yeah, that was how the major energies this week came up in my life. And those are little lessons and just me sharing that. So if you want to share anything in the comments, or just put a heart if you enjoyed this and you want me to continue doing this, and whatever you have any cues, questions,